So hello everyone. I'm having a hard time dealing with Mark's presentation, so I'll do my best. He has had way better memes than me, so this is kind of intimidating. I'll do my best. So who am I? Some guy, random guy just met, happened to be here. My name is Rodrigues. I'm an SRE platform, DevOps, sysadmin, whatever Mark's gave us a job description right now. That's me, yeah. I used to do a lot of freelance stuff. I'm a failed punk. I wanted to be a geologist, never made it. So opinions are my own, like Mark said, and they are really mine, so I won't give it to you. But they're pretty much based on a lot of other people's opinions, because it's just easier to steal stuff and not think that much about stuff. So this is me. And yes, another talk about DevOps dying. So all this talk about serverless and all of this, and the way teams are enabled to run their workloads and they don't need ops, right? You have serverless, just go, done. It feels like there's no need for DevOps, SRE, ops in general, right? Or platform or whatever. So, did serverless kill DevOps? Thank you, Marco. No, that's it for me. So Marco gave a way better presentation. I'll just stay here and leave. No, in my opinion, it didn't kill it, but it changed it. So I'll try to justify why. I think it changed it. So why so serverless? Let's talk a little bit about serverless. So no one wants to manage servers right now, right? Just want it to be serverless. It's easy. So first of all, just to make things clear, I am not a serverless evangelist, right? I am not. I just work in a place that uses a tech stack based on serverless, full serverless, and event-driven. That's it. We have no containers, kind of. We have a lot of stuff we can discuss afterwards, but just to make sure you understand, I don't believe that serverless is a silver bullet, like Mark said. And I think, there's stuff that you need to run, serverless won't go. That simple. We need DBs. We need stateful apps sometimes. We need networking, a lot of stuff. Hell, I think we actually need, or maybe we'll find a reason to use Kubernetes also. I'm not sure at this point in time. I'm joking. I like Kubernetes, mainly because I don't run clusters now. So yeah, but I diverge. So my point here is to talk about serverless and the relation to DevOps, mainly ops. I know there's this word that we glue dev to it, and apparently solved our own problems, but like he said in his question, it didn't. 20 years later, we're still in the same place. So we're getting closer, but not in a good place. So the way I see serverless is, I want to run my stuff. If I can get someone to run my stuff for me, I like it. I don't want to run it by myself. I don't want to run clusters. I don't want to run DB clusters. I don't want to run anything. I want to focus what actually matters to the people that are actually paying me money to solve problems, right? This is what I want to do. So, I was saying I was not evangelizing, but I'm kind of. No, I'm not. This is like, stole it from somewhere. I'll try to find where I stole it from. If you want, I will send it to the organization, but it's not a technology. It's not like, yeah, we have serverless framework, we're serverless. That's it. Use lambdas in some part of our code. On stack, we're serverless. No. This is like the serverless doctrine. Configuration over code. What's the point on this? I will explain a little bit better down the road on all of this. When they give me some examples what we use at Cazoo, but I'll try to run through this as fast as possible. So you need to start thinking about configuration. What I mean by this, You can use a lot of stuff out of the box, a lot of services that you can actually just configure and they will be there serverlessly. And you don't need to do anything about them. You need some small amount of code to glue them together. That's the Lambda part. That's the code part. Just use configuration. As little as code as possible. We all know that all developers are lazy, so I think I can relate to this. I'm not a developer, but I'm lazy also. So, what I mean by this, whatever you can shift to configuration, don't code it. Do not code it. No instance servers, containers, or clusters, or data centers, or nothing. Yes, unless there is no other way. Because like we talked about, sometimes this is not possible. And sometimes we actually have a business requirement to have something running there, right? I like this one. Scaling up and down to 0 is a must. If you have something running and it needs to keep being running, it's not serverless. It's just there. If you cannot stop it, it's not serverless. It's just there. And it's funny because we have I'll discuss this a little bit down the road. Okay. So, and my favorite one, again, because I'm lazy, if you don't build it, just buy it. I think it's way more effective. To be honest, this is something that if you have the chance, think long and hard if you need to build something. Because if there's something out there that solves your problem and you do have the money, buy. That's it. I don't want to build something like an S3, right? I want to pay AWS to use S3. That's it. I want a place to put my images and my clients go there and see them. That's it. This is what I want. I want to build a part that I want to put the image there and that's it for my clients to see it. Why build it? No, AWS is good at building stuff. I just want to run them. That's it. In short, there's this tweet that I really like. This is an old tweet, but kind of made me think, right? I don't actually agree with the order, but yeah, it's pretty simple. If platform has it, use it. If you need to tweak your stuff around it to use it, use it. You know why? They will run it for you. That's simple. If the market has it, buy it. Don't build it. If you can reconsider requirements for something, do it. So you can buy it or have platform running it. You don't run it. If you really, really have to build it, own it. It's yours till the end of days. There's no handover. You build it, you run it. So this is kind of a strange way of looking at it, but I like it. Again, I think that serverless is about teams having the ownership around their services and apply their services as they need. And like Mark said, again, I'm just piggybacking on you. Sorry, man, trying to make my presentation better. We don't. Full stack engineers do not exist. Yeah, this will be on Twitter. Okay, moving on. I should have thought about it before saying this. Okay, so dev and ops. Why dev and ops? I think we get involved in all the DevOps thing. We keep forgetting that there's a part called ops, operations. We do run stuff, not just development. So related to serverless, at some point in time I saw a conference that someone said serverless will kill DevOps in 3 years. And I was like, whoa, that was cool. We actually don't have DevOps working where I work, but yeah, just a waste of time, right? No. So I don't think that's the case. I will give you three examples based on my, let's call it, life experience, that this is not true and this will never happen because we need operations to run stuff. That's simple. So from the top, automation. Automation does not replace ops. It augments it. Why? the focus should shift, right? A couple of years ago, 10 years ago, we just created something, we push it to, I don't know, SSH, to a Linux server, and then rsync to all those servers, right? And that was it. Static configuration kind of evolves to a thing like, yeah, let's automate all things. We want to automate everything. We want to find a way we don't have to pay a lot of money to people to do stuff and just automate it. And we find that. That didn't work because the people that actually automate things are smart and made it in a way that is way too complicated to automate. So we're smart people. Yeah. My point is, you cannot automate automation. You need to write it. You need to write the automation. So someone has coded, kind of, yeah. With all this Google chatbot in sentence, maybe you can actually convince it to do it for us. In my experience, we actually really move from one side to the other in automation. We're still in the same place. So some time ago, we had our local environments, Docker, 15 containers on a MacBook. That works. And we developed everything and we pushed it somewhere and there was this pipeline and it got work. Right now, what I'm seeing, where I work, we're just pretty much cloud native environments. That's it. There's nothing running in anyone's computer. And I think that's a good innovation, right? A couple of years ago, CI/CD was the thing, right? We need GitLab, we need, I don't know, we might even need Bitbucket, yeah. I don't know, to deploy something. Right now, at that time, we actually had an application, we built a pipeline for it, and we copied it over, right? Every application had the same pipeline, but repeatedly done endless times according to the number of applications. Right now, again, from my experience, we can actually create this. I'm not sure. I think this is a GitHub thing. Sorry, I know I have a GitLab t-shirt, but you can actually use actions and workflows over and over and over again. I'll give you some examples on this. Imagine that for some reason, your pipeline needs to authenticate into AWS. I'm not sure why you should, but yeah, imagine, bear with me. So instead of having all of this authentication to all the pipelines, just create a reusable workflow for that specific part. That's it. And imagine one place. And wherever pipeline you're having, just call it and use it. I think it's pretty cool. I love YAML, so I think this is pretty cool. I don't have to write it over and over and over. On the tooling, at some point in time, we had like a thing, I think this still exists. You need a pipeline, this is your pipeline. Oh, you need tests? No, we don't have that step on the pipeline. This is your pipeline, deploy it with this. Fortunately, things are not so right now. There's an approach for customizable tooling. I don't have a better name for it. I'll just call it that. I'll try to explain it. Let's see how that goes. Think about something that you can actually build 80% workable, and the other 20% depends on the dev team that actually is going to use it. And actually can customize it. Call it like a baseline pipeline, for example. And they can augment it and make it their own way. So I think this is a good evolution on automation also. At some point in time, also, inference code. If you use ClickOps, you know ClickOps? No, okay. No one follows Corey Quinn on Twitter. He has this theory that we should not do DevOps, no ops, should do ClickOps. Just go to the AWS console, click, 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 and create stuff. That is it. I agree with him. So at some point in time, we had this thing, inference code, Terraform, CloudFormation, I don't know, abstractions like Pulumi. It needs to be on code. I agree. It needs to be on code. It really does? It needs to be on code, really? A lot of stuff does, yes. Fortunately, you get to a point that we actually have cloud automation around stuff, account creation, provisioning of the accounts with, I don't know, AWS Enterprise support that is very cheap. And on this kind of stuff, you can actually, besides deploying your Kubernetes cluster on EKS, you can actually deploy accounts and all of this kind of stuff and have policies for those accounts. I think this is very cool. Of course, you cannot use Terraform for that. You need to use CloudFormation, but that is fine. So we had a lot of workloads, Kubernetes clusters, yay. SQL clusters, yay. Everyone loves it. This is what we used to build and automate, right? All of this. Right now, the only thing that we do at Cazoo is provision that. API gateways. That's it. Lambdas. Of course, we need to deploy them, but DynamoDBs. This is it. And a couple of more stuff, but that's it. I really like this approach. Again, I'm lazy, so yeah, this is cool. And for last, automation, monitoring. We all use Prometheus and love Prometheus. The focus now, instead of having this infrastructure-based monitoring from Prometheus or whatever you're running on your clusters, it's Prometheus. You can actually shift to observability model that is very pretty in theory, but you can export your metrics, logs, traces, all of this using something like OpenTelemetry to do it. You need to instrumentalize your code. You need to build all of this and set it there. That is fine, but there's some differences. Used to do the left things, we're now doing the right things. On the right. I'm not sure they're right. They're on the right. Moving on. So, abstraction. Thank you, Marco. I think we're on the same place here. So, abstraction doesn't replace ops. It hides it. Just ops is there. Just call it another thing, infrastructure, whatever you want to call it. Why? Why? Because we get to a point we have so much abstraction to create a very good developer experience that ends up being like a very bad developer experience because you lock developers out of this. We don't want to teach them to do this stuff. They don't want to learn to do stuff. We just, okay, you want to deploy? Click this button. That's it. We're all happy. No. And again, to have this abstraction layer, someone needs to build it and run it and maintain it. So every layer of abstraction you add to any service, it's extra work for someone. Usually guys like me, but yeah, it is work. So abstraction, bear with me on this. It comes from providing the tools that the organization around you uses, I don't know, creating a Terraform module. So a developer can pick it up, build something, just pass on 3 parameters, yeah, Kubernetes cluster, yeah, done. In my opinion, I believe that this abstraction is starting to create a lot of complexity. Again, not for the DevOps enthusiasts, for people that actually run stuff. It's very hard to maintain all of this and very complex. And I'm getting to a point, I'm trying to figure out why we're doing this. Instead of talk to each other and try to solve our problems, we're just saying, yeah, you want a Kubernetes cluster? Press this button, done. It removes control from dev teams. It's like, yeah, you don't get to touch the functionality on this, you have no ownership on this, but you're an independent team. Go. You have all the tooling that we need. Yes, you don't run it. No, you can change it. You cannot change it. Yeah. They're using something that they don't own, cannot change, and then come to us and say, we need to change this, please. I think this is very wrong. This is not ownership. This is not having a way of teams building their software independently. Just another dependency provoked by abstraction. Reduces innovation. Yes, it does. If I have a tool to do something, I will use it till I die. I'm not writing another one, right? I'm not thinking about my problem. I'm trying to fix a tool with that tool, and that's it. Which leads to another thing. Not so good practices. How? If you get a team to use a tool that doesn't fit exactly their needs, they cannot change it, they don't own it, they will work around it. That simple. You will say, you need to do this way, they will work around it and against it because they don't own it. And this promotes very bad practices. Sorry. How can we solve this? Any ideas? Just letting this sink in. Maybe you can help me out on this. There's one thing we're trying at Cazoo. Inner source. Not a big word right now. This is something we're trying. So, what I mean by inner source, it's pretty much applying whatever you think it's good about open source, proprietary software. Only people at Cazoo can do that at Cazoo. Just to be clear, we're not kind of opening for everyone, but that's the point, right? In every platform team, there's a repo, there's a code owners, but any person can go there and change whatever they want. There's approvals, there's tests, of course, needs to be. You have a better idea, go and change it, go and do it. I think this kind of solves this abstraction, and people actually have some tools they will use. And last but not least, this is me writing an S3 bucket upload service. That's it. It doesn't remove complexity. It increases it. Why? Come on, there's no servers. Serverless, right? This is cheap. Yes, you just pay when it's running. It's not running, it's stop, you don't pay for it. It scales forever. Limit is, I don't know, US1. Go. There's no latency. We can actually run this at our CDNs. Perfect. Maintenance? Nope. AWS. Google would do it. I keep referring AWS because I work with AWS, never work with anything else. So, and again, I'm not evangelizing AWS or serverless. So there's no maintenance, right? Yes, of course not. Distributed systems are very complex to create. And if you have a large number of functions, it's ridiculous what you have to do to get them to work together. It's way, way harder than just have a bunch of functions in a monolith, as you know. So we have around 4,000 lambdas at Cazoo right now running. Hopefully not at the same time, because that will be expensive, but they keep running, right? Sometimes. This is a very, very hard thing to keep track, to know what is talking to what is dependent on what. Even the names. We need to figure out where are the repos for all of these lambdas and share with everyone. I know that we get more independencies this way, but it gets very, very, very complicated to manage, right? I'll explain how we do it, and we cheat, or we will cheat about this. So, testing. Please tell me if you have a solution to test 4,000 lambdas. Okay, 4,000, no. 5 different lambdas in a workable way, test it throughout in less than, 5 minutes. Properly tested. I can put it in a pipeline to test it before. I deploy it. This kind of dependencies. It's very hard to do. You can do it. You can do it, but it will take like 15 days to deploy something because it will be a lot of stuff to test, right? And debugging is stupidly hard. Sometimes you're debugging something, just looking at logs or metrics tells you nothing. Everything is fine, but it's not working. Why? Used to go, I don't know, into ACT instance, look into it, Kubernetes cluster container, and we can actually debug it, right? With our primitive sysadmin skills, Linux, and this kind of stuff, right? I can do it right now. And don't get me started on networking, AWS networking stuff. I think that sometimes neither they can find anything there, right? But yeah, it's kind of a vacuum. So debugging is very hard. Observability is paramount, of course. Why? Log sources and metrics are very important to understand what's going on. But it takes a lot of work, right? All of this takes a lot of operational work. So I don't think serverless killed DevOps. I think it's increasing the ops at least. Maybe you just put ops on caps every time we write DevOps, something like this. I think we're just hiding. This is my point. How can we solve this? I really don't know. I can tell you what we were doing at Cazoo. And you can tell me, yeah, this makes sense. I would appreciate it if, yeah.
At least you don't have a server.
Yeah, that's it. I just run my stuff on someone else's server. That's it, yeah. So how are we doing this? Starting by teams, we all know this. We all love this. This works for everyone. If you work at Spotify, and even them, I find it very funny when this came out. And for years I was thinking, whoa, this is like a true multidisciplinary team. And then I had an operations team. They're just not showing it there. So I think that's funny. How can we solve this? This is perfect. No, this doesn't work. This also doesn't work, but works a little bit better from my experience, right? I sold this from someone. I didn't write this. I didn't think about this. All teams are working. We have application development teams that they're doing their code, right? We have platform teams to enable them, creating all the tooling they need for them to go faster, deploy, test, and all of that. We have SREs that actually maintain everything working. Yes, it's kind of true. Although there's teams that the platform team does it both, but it's kind of true. This kind of works. And in someone else's dream, in my dream also, we kind of split business KPIs with SLOs. We do the same with business people and product people. And we all agree that yes, we're aligned. Your business KPIs is aligned with my SLO. Never happens, but I think this, we could do this. I think this will be fun, and this will work. So around this, there's a lot of stuff to be talked about, platform as products, developer experience, all of this. You can go into this because I think way over time, almost done. This is something that we're thinking about doing because we kind of make it work for us. Let's see how that goes. I can come back and say, oh, that went if you want. And talking about platform, I work in the platform team, and this is kind of our goal. We build stuff, secure, reliable infrastructure. We use a shift left culture. By this, we mean that if there's a problem, we shift it to developers. So please, no, I'm joking. But we actually do. We actually do. We define standards, patterns, and practices. Yes, we do. Given that someone will adopt them, we try to be as fair as possible. We build self-service tooling, kind of the tools we think developers actually will use, or their needs, and we try to measure it, if they're actually using it, or we need to change anything, or build different tools. We deliver stuff, experiments. We use a lot of A/B testing around in Cazoo. We try to give a better developer experience to developers, that's true. And we focus on continuous delivery. Keep in mind, delivery, not integration. This is not a problem. We just want to deliver it. And we operate our stuff around making it possible for everyone to see. We enable autonomy through the inner source model I discussed a little bit before. Teams can actually contribute to our stuff. We have operational insights that says, this is what we're running, this is the problem that we're having, and all of this. We take care of incident management also. Keep in mind, this is a work in progress. This is the ideal thing, right? We're still doing a lot of this stuff. And we focus on our customers. We provide a platform to inner source everything. Again, lazy people, these platform people just inner source so someone else can do their job. We try to keep transparent and up-to-date roadmaps so everyone can understand what we're delivering when we're delivering. And we measure everything. Yes, we use our metrics. We're trying to implement it. Something that we're starting to build is service adoption metrics. This is something that we need to understand, to get feedback, to understand if teams are actually using our tools or the tools we're using actually make sense for developers. And we do reliability. We're trying to get some stuff off the ground around reliability, metrics, SLOs, and of course incidents. So this is like platform. We have 4 platform teams, small teams, cloud engineering, DevOps, Edge, and let's call the other one SRE, because yeah, I like the term. And this is what we're trying to do. So, really fast, you remember this? This is a mantra, it's on. Don't ask me, I don't know this. Second thing I showed it here, how are you solving it? This is what I mean by configuration over code. What you see here with lambdas is actually this one, third parties, services. What I mean is, I want to know when a customer uploads an image, I want to notify them if the image fails. That's it. This is the service, right? The only code I wrote is to notify the user. I use S3, published in an SNS topic, queue. I extract the license plate from the image, move it to the SKS queue, text analysis, see, okay, this is a valid license plate for this country. If not, event bridge tells the customer, no, this is not an image you can use. And the only thing that we actually built and code was this. Everything else is bought. We're not rich, don't think about it, but we kind of try to do this as much as possible, build around AWS services and stuff that we actually use. As little as code as possible. We use one language, TypeScript, for backend, different stuff, but yeah, one framework, serverless. Use DDD, and we have another mantra that says everything is an event. Everything is event-driven. This is how we do it. And also, we have no uses of service clusters or containers, unless there's no other way to run it. Data. You cannot run data stuff on serverless. We buy a lot of stuff, a lot of companies, sometimes they're not full serverless. This happens. And you actually, if you have a very strong use case, you can use anything else. Never happened, but you can. So on this, don't build it, you buy it. This is what we buy. We run all our workloads in AWS. We use Cloudflare, we use GitHub for everything since pushing code to get it to production, pretty much. We use Split.io, Datadog and Encom for observability, service management ops level. We're going to start using it at some point in time to track 4,000 lambdas, and it actually works. And we're currently running a POC on Rootly for incident management. What's the point here? Want logs? Use CloudWatch. You want routing, discovery, API gateway. File storage, S3. Dynamo for your data. You need flow, on stream, event bridge. That's it. And you build your code around the limitations of those services. And that's it. This is how we can actually keep it simple. And yeah, that's it for me.
Do you run search on
We use Argolia. It's a search service. We just have it somewhere. Yeah.
That was it. Just one.
Anything we can use off and we don't have to build, we will do it. If we have the money for it, of course.
You don't use a relational database?
No.
Use your data relational?
No. We might have used something like this in data world, yes. But again, there's no alternative to some stuff that data people use. They still use Python, right? So they like their stuff. In my experience in Cazoo, I've been there for 6 months. I haven't touched. In our world here in Portugal, front-end stuff, there is no data. There's Dynamo.
In both presentations, we can see that nowadays we have 1,000 powers to build 1,000 solutions, infrastructures, and much more complex than in the past. And build that team model, documentations, session of sharing things. What do you think? How can I use DevOps to manage the chaos? Because nowadays we are creating team silos, solution silos, and beyond documentation, sometimes you can find everything. We can integrate everything. So my concern nowadays is how DevOps can help us to manage the chaos. Because we, in the future, probably we will create a DevOps IT to restrict, to build things more rigid.
I like that idea. I think it's funny. I really don't know how DevOps can solve this. What I can tell you is there's some pretty good ideas around this, and maybe companies can adopt it. We're trying to do some stuff around the book that Manuel Pais wrote, Team Topologies. This helps in certain situations, mainly the enabling thing helps in certain situations. We'll solve it. I don't think so. But I'm joking. I really did want to see DevOps ITIL. Sorry, man. I don't. I think we'll slow us down. Rather break stuff and be happy without be miserable. Yeah.
Your 4,000 lambdas, but they're developed in teams, right?
Yeah. No, actually, it's just one guy to build them all. No, there's a lot of teams, different teams. We work with 6 people team, something like this.
Okay.
They own a couple of services which are built by a couple of London. The other way around, but yeah.
Because within your presentation, what I saw was my history, or part of my history, which is the lack of the culture that DevOps should implement in the companies that are trying to implement DevOps. Because they try to, DevOps is the CI/CD, it's the deploy pipeline, it's all of the tooling, and they forgot the culture. And the Dev versus Ops mentality still exists. So, what happens when a Lambda starts having issues within Cazoo? Who gets staged?
The team that wrote it.
Okay, that's a good start.
Yeah. First thing is put developers on call. After your problems will go away. Trust me. Yeah, off. Yeah, but that's the thing. Wants it, we'll fix it. That's it.
Yeah, thank you. So, tying the 2 sessions together, the 2 presentations, I feel that what we're lacking really is the communication between all these teams and bringing the culture together and all of that. So have you put any thought, again, regarding, like, if you think about having the resources in terms of money, people, capacity for that, of having specific teams, specific owners regarding the process of getting everyone to work together, something like an engineering operations team that is not dev, it's not ops, it's not nothing in between, it's just something that ties in together, thinks about the process, thinks about how do we communicate, how do we work together. So splitting or taking that responsibility into something that is actually being trained for them.
I think that's a good idea. It's a bit like a unicorn at this point in time. It's very hard to do, but it's a very good idea. And I think that should be a goal. The way I see it, and this is strictly my personal opinion, if you start stepping in other people's shoes and other people's work and understand what they do, it's easier to understand and have this DevOps mindset, right? Again, this is my opinion. If you get developers on call, they will share the pain of waking up every 3 hours, right? That's it. They'll run better code because at least they don't want to be waked up, right? So I don't know. I think communication is key. There's a couple of tricks you can do related to the way you set up the teams, but I think as DevOps, it comes down to culture. If the team has the culture, the company has a culture or wants to acquire it in a certain direction and build their own culture around these ideas that work, that's fine. But it comes down to this, and you cannot buy culture. You cannot teach culture. People actually create the culture. So, and it takes a long time. So, but that's a good idea. Just mix everyone together and they will fight it till death. Like two Kubernetes pods. Starving for resources, die. I'm joking. They die, and we don't know why. That's it.
What do you do when you have a problem and you don't know about any external solution to solve it?
I will have to build it, but I will try to rephrase the problem. That's the thing. We have an engineering problem that we need to solve. Do you need to build it? Can you buy half of it? Can you adapt whatever AWS has to offer so we can make it closer as the requirements we need? And if you get to a point, we just need to change a little bit the requirements. If it works, we'll change it a little bit. If it doesn't work, we need to build it, we'll build it. But then again, we'll learn it for life and beyond.
Thank you very much, Luis. Let's have a applause.
Thank you all.